Hey everybody, it's Miss Kalanicky. I'm at a workshop right now, so I'm going to have you work on this lesson with me via video. Hopefully you wrote down the page number for today. Today is page 10, so hope you got that down. And today's date, 3/8/17. Alright, so today we're talking about the area of a composite shape. Now we've talked about this word composite before when we talked about perimeter of a composite shape. A composite shape is just a figure that has combined more than one shape. I'm going to read this box out loud. Read it along with me. So find the area of a composite figure separated into figures with areas you know how to find. Then find the sum of the area of those figures. So with a partner, I want you to discuss your thoughts on how we could calculate the area of this shape, this purplish looking shape. I want you to write down any formulas or any information that you might need to know in order to determine this area. Whole shape's area. I want to know this whole shape's area. Pause the video when you come back and we're ready to talk about it. Okay, welcome back. So, in order to find this, the area of this shape, what do I need? Well, first I need to figure out what kind of shapes are involved here. And there are two shapes. Is this the right figure? Yeah, there are two shapes. The first one is well, what do we call this? Could we call it a square? Could we call it a rectangle? Does it matter? In this case, it does matter. Because a square and a rectangle are slightly different. This is actually a rectangle because two of the sides are not the same. So this is 9 and this is 7, so that's not a square. Square has all equal sides. Now, what is the formula for that? Well, we'll come back to that. The second shape besides a rectangle is a triangle. So that's my second shape. So I'm going to need two formulas. I'm going to need the formula for a triangle's area and the formula for a rectangle's area. Now, where on earth are we going to find that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe your formula sheet. Oh, yeah. So I have mine out right here. Can someone figure out which of the formulas we need off of this? There's two, but one is missing. I do not see the word rectangle on here anywhere. I see triangle. And it's an A, which means that's the area formula. So I'm going to minimize this and rewrite that formula over here. So the triangle formula is A equals, what was it, 1/2, I'm going to go back and look, 1/2 B times H. There's my mouse. 1/2 B times H. And we'll talk about what B and H stand for. The rectangle, there wasn't one, but I could use a parallelogram. Because if you remember what a parallelogram looks like, it kind of looks like a slanty rectangle. So it's pretty close. The formula for that was base times height. But actually, you probably know this one. Length times width. Does that sound familiar? You'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that one. Alright, so let's start with the easier one first. I need the length and the width of this rectangle. It's pretty obvious that the length and width are 9 and 7, or 7 times 9. Ooh, since a lot of you were working on this the other day, what property says that it doesn't really matter what order that I multiply these in, I'll get the same answer? That I could change the order and it would be okay? You saying it? I hope so. Commutative property? Yeah, I think I hear it. So 9 times 7 is 63. So that's the area of this rectangle right here. Now I need the triangle. Now let's talk about what B and H stand for. B and H stand for base and height. Now normally I don't stand a triangle up on its point. Normally I turn the triangle this way. So the base is the bottom of the triangle and the height is how tall it is. Now I know, and Ms. Freifeld will model for me, or the sub will model for me, when you measure your height at the doctor's office, I'm pretty sure you're not slanting over like this. So we're never going to use a measurement that's slanted like this. We're always going to use one that is perpendicular or that meets the base at a right angle. And you see that little box right there. So the height of this one is 6. That's pretty easy. But I don't see a number here. Do you? I don't see a number here. What is it? It's there. Ah, it's 9. So 9 on this side of the rectangle is going to be the same as a 9 on this side of the rectangle. So my base of my rectangle is going to be 9, and my height is going to be 6. But again, my commutative property is telling me that I can multiply in any order that I want. So I can do 6 times 9 or 9 times 6. Up to you. Oop. 6 parentheses close. Getting my calculator out. Hopefully you have yours out. 9 times 6 times 1/2. Are you with me? Come on, don't make me wait for you. Get those in your calculator. Should get, come on, I'm writing it down, 27. So now my final step that I have to remember is that I really wanted the combined area of both of those shapes. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the area from shape 1 and add it on to the area of shape 2. It's just like what we did with perimeter the other day. And so my final answer is 90. And again, this one needs a label. 90 meters. Are we covering this or not? Yes, we are. It's area. So it's meters squared. Because remember, what covers our floor and our ceiling? Squares. All right. Next shape I'm going to do with you, and then you're going to try 2 on your own. You really got to focus. All right, so here we go. 2 shapes. First thing is to pick out what are the 2 shapes. So this is well, the rectangle's easy, but what's the other shape? What do we call it? One's a rectangle. The other one is are you saying it? And that makes a difference when we're talking about formulas. So again, formula I've been using before. Area equals length times width. Not given on your formula sheet, but you can kind of use the one for a parallelogram, whose area is just base times height, or BH next to each other. It's the same kind of shape. So a base and a height, or a length and a width, kind of the same thing. We're kind of talking about the same thing. And then a semicircle. Now, what is the area for a semicircle? Again, you don't need to memorize it. Go and look at your sheet. Okay, I'm looking for a circle, but I don't see semicircle. But I see about 3 formulas. There's one up here, and there's 2 down here. So which one do I use? Well, I'm talking about area, so that leaves just this one. So what am I going to do with this? I'm going to copy this formula down. A equals pi r squared. But who remembers what I have to do? Because it's a semicircle, I have to cut it in half. Again, no formula sheet is going to tell you that. You need to know how to do that. All right, so now let's go back to my information. What do I have for the rectangle? Well, I have the 2 sides. I have 4 and 2. So 4 times 2. And that equals 8. Nice and easy. Probably could have done that in your head. Second one's going to be a little trickier. Remember, anytime we deal with circles, you have to think about, what is that picture giving me? Is it giving me the radius, or is it giving me the diameter? According to this, imagine the full circle. That line would go straight across the circle. So that is the diameter. But I don't need diameter for my formula, I need the radius. So if the diameter is 4, again, if you need to draw yourself a little picture, do it. Diameter goes all the way across the circle. So if the diameter is 4, radius only goes halfway across the circle. So 4 divided by 2 makes 2. So I need to use the number 2 in this formula. And I'm going to leave, I think I'm going to leave pi in my answer just to make it easier on you guys. No rounding today. So I'm going to leave the pi there. I'm going to use 2 as my radius. And I'm going to do this math in the calculator without the pi. So 2 squared divided by 2. 2 squared is 4, divided by 2 is 2. So my final answer is going to be 2, and then I'm just going to stick the pi next to it. Okay? Final answer is the total area And this is really easy. I just have to add the two pieces together. So here's my first area. Here's my second area. And do not tell me it's 10 pi. These are not like terms. So this whole thing is my answer, except it's going to need a label. Yards squared. I know it looks yucky, but that's my answer. I could make you round it. I could have you plug in 3.14 for pi and get an answer, but I'm just going to leave it for now. This is, again, I describe this as an answer in terms of pi. Alright, so there are, really it's not so much formulas you know, but formulas you need to be able to go and get. So I want you to use your chart to fill out this chart. I want you to go to your formula sheet and fill out all these important things that you need to know. Pause the video. When you come back, I'll go over it with you. Just copy them down because we're going to use them for the next section. Alright, if you're back, here we go. So the area formula for a triangle, again, I'm using it right off the sheet, is 1/2 base times height. A equals 1/2. B stands for base, H stands for height. A square or a rectangle I don't have, but you know there's a shape on here that's pretty close to it. What's a shape that kind of looks like a rectangle? That's a parallelogram. So I'm going to use that formula. You can either write base times height, or if you want and you know the formula, you can also write length times width. Those also work. So up to you. A parallelogram, we know, because I just said it, base times height. And then my final one is the circle. Looking at my circle, I'm looking for area. There's only one formula for area. Area equals pi r squared. Don't say 2, squared. Alright, so now what I want you to do, and I'm going to tell you that there is a trapezoid on this one, and there is no trapezoid formula. So I'm going to actually give you the trapezoid formula. If you see this unusual looking shape right here is a trapezoid. So I'm going to give it to you, the fact that it's a trapezoid. Even the word looks weird. And I'm going to give you the formula. So the trapezoid's area formula is B1 plus B2 divided by 2 times H. Whoa, it's complicated. I'll talk about this. I want you to do by yourself all of these 3 shapes, and then when you're done and you have, so you're going to do this, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this down here because you can. After you're done with that, pause the video, and after you're done, come back to the video and we'll go over the whole rest of this page, and then that'll be just about time for lab. Alright, let's go. Pause the video. Get going. Right now. Don't wait. Let's go. Alright, welcome back. So here we go. First shape, again, it doesn't matter which order you do the shapes in. This one actually is a square because the sides are equal. So no matter what, if it's a square or a rectangle or a parallelogram, I'm going to do length times width or base times height. And the length and the width are both 12. So I'm just going to do 12 times 12, which is my favorite number, 144. So far, so good. Okay. The second shape is obviously a triangle. So I need the formula that I wrote above, 1/2 base times height. And again, I take my time to really look at this shape, and I even might want to redraw it up here, because remember, I don't really put a triangle on its point or on its side. I put it on its base, its flat part. So what is this flat part? What would this equal? That would equal 12, and then its height, or how tall it is, according to this, is 9. So I'm going to do 1/2 12 times 9. And I actually can do this in my head. I don't know about you guys. Can you do it? What's half of 12? Half of 12 is 6, and 6 times 9 is, if you know your facts, 54. So my final answer is when I take these two and put them together. So I have 144 plus 54 for a grand total of 198. Label it. Feet squared. If you got it all by yourself, you're doing pretty well. If not, remember, you got to try these on your own. Math is happening around you. Do not let it go by without you paying attention and doing what you're supposed to be doing. All right, we've already done one of these shapes today. This is a semicircle. So I need the circle formula, which I have on my formula sheet, pi r squared, but I have to remember to cut it in half. Okay, based on this picture, do I have the radius or do I have the diameter? This picture showing 4 is the diameter, so I need to find the radius, which I do by just cutting 4 in half. 4 cut in half makes 2. So my formula is going to say pi, parentheses is going to be the 2. I'm going to square it, divided by 2. Again, 2 squared is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So this final answer will be 2 pi, just like before. How about that? Let's talk about this trapezoid. It's a little crazy. It actually has, if you notice with the same letter B, it has 2 bases. So bases are flat. They go parallel together. So here's one base, and here is the other base. It doesn't really matter which one you call base 1, which one you call base 2. So we're going to plug those two numbers in. So base 1, I'll call 6. And base 2, I'm going to call 4. And all I'm doing is copying down the formula so far. So B1 is 6 plus B2 is 4 divided by 2. Times, what's the height of this? This height, again, I don't stand slanty when I get my height check. So the height, straight up and down, is going to be 2. So in your calculator, you're going to do 6 plus 4 first, hit enter. Otherwise, you're going to have to do this. You might have to put parentheses around this thing. So 6 plus 4 is 10. 10 divided by 2, 5. 5 times 2 should get you. Double check. See if you can get that. Don't wait for me. See if you can get that on your calculator yourself. I don't care if I wrote the answer. I want you to do it on your calculator. So do it to it. And now, based on what we did on the last example with a semicircle, what would my final answer be for this? Now you have everything. Put it together and label it. I'm giving you 30 seconds. Get it done. You can pause the video if you need more time. Okay. I'm back. Here we go. Shape of area of shape 1 is 2 pi. Area of shape 2 is 10. Can I put them together? No. They are not like terms. And I'm going to label meters squared. Good? All right. That should bring you into the break. If you have a lot more time, what you can do is you can get out your workbooks and you can turn to workbook page 178. What that will do is that's reviewing area of a circle that we did yesterday. Be careful, there are full circles, but there are also semicircles. That's a terrible semicircle, sorry. So just be aware of that. Remember, the formula changes when I'm dealing with a semicircle, so be aware. All right, if you don't need more time and you're done, take you to the break. Make sure that you take your tests that I gave back yesterday and put them in your lab folder. Because if we do test corrections, you need access to that. And I don't want you to tell me, oh, I left my test at home. Next period, you're going to be doing labs. You're going to need to get iPads. So we'll have the sub or Ms. Freifeld get you guys some iPads. Make sure you're working because I will be checking to see what you're doing on IXL tomorrow. So have a great rest of the day, guys. Take care.